Drop the beat.
Welcome to another episode of Hair in the Fork. How y'all been this week?
Good. I saw Mike comment. Oh, there he is. Okay. Mike commented. He's changed his name to Blind Mike, the pursuer of independent thought. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
How have you guys been?
I've been.
Go ahead. It's been crazy. It's been a week.
It has been a week. You ain't kidding.
Yep.
What's crazy also is that we're showing, well, I guess we just suddenly went up to 2. We were showing 1 viewer, and Mike and Linda were commenting. So we might have some stuffery going on there.
I can't see nothing. I need to get on my spectacles. But anyway, we're coming at you with some news stories, and I'm going to go ahead and get started with this one that I found really interesting, coming straight to us from the land of Cambodia.
We're going straight in.
Straight in. Head first, baby. In Cambodia, the Prime Minister, Hun Manet, I believe is how you say it. It's similar to mayonnaise, but it's Manet.
Okay.
Has shown himself to be a bit of a square. And he's acting a little bit like a Reverend Shaw Moore from Footloose, as he has banned musical horns from cars in Cambodia.
What?
I saw that.
That's an atrocity.
It really is. This came after you've seen social media posts showing the youths dancing roadside to the musical sounds from the truck horns. So these kids were jamming out to the truck horns like I don't even know what they sound like. What's the old lowrider theme?
What's that?
Oh, these kids
We're in the wrong business, Tully.
We're in the wrong fucking business. You're absolutely right.
So these kids are slam dancing on the streets over there in Cambodia to the sounds of these musical horns. But Hun Manet has said dancing affects public order and poses a traffic hazard. He cites one video that shows 3 young people twerking in the middle of the road while a large truck comes barreling their way, laying down a fresh beat. So now that I think about it, the Prime Minister may actually be concerned for his people, and if history's taught us anything, in Footloose, the town was finally able to cut loose a Footloose, and this attracted the attention of the sleeping graboids, which terrorized the town.
Oh yeah, the Tremors play, right?
Yep. So maybe he is looking out for the best interests of the people. The one and only.
Well, I do want to give some updates on stuff that we talked about last week. Beginning with something that Mr. Stephen Hill sent me. Like we talked about the red heifer situation.
Mm-hmm.
And he sent me an article this week that says a massive altar for the red heifer sacrifice has been constructed in Israel.
Yeah.
And it is it's ready to go. And it's basically, I mean, it leaves it on a cliffhanger. Like I would assume that if they're building an altar, that they're planning on sacrificing one this year.
Would they happen to be doing it in correlation with the eclipse?
I don't know. Well, time will tell. And then I got an update. I said how it's going with Boeing. So on 3/15, which would have been last Friday when we were talking about this, United Airlines flight that took off from San Francisco had to make a landing in Oregon with a missing external panel, according to officials. The airport's director said the plane landed safely without incident, and the external panel was discovered missing during a post-flight inspection.
Where did it go?
And then 3.1, which was yesterday, another Boeing 737 had an engine blowout. Delta flight from Aruba to Atlanta had to make an emergency landing after circling the island 4 times. And I don't think any passengers were harmed in that one. And then we had an update. So this guy is like if you look him up on Twitter, his handle's Alan Analysis. He's very, very political. Like, he doesn't post a lot of stuff like this. He's super, I guess in the realm of politics, he would be left leaning.
Is it John Barnett?
Yeah. So update on John Barnett, the Boeing employee that got the whistleblower that. So he said that he had intended to return to Louisiana following his deposition on Friday, March the 8th. However, Boeing's legal team requested that he remain an additional day to complete his testimony, and his body was discovered on March 9th, according to this one was from Fortune and Mr. Allen Analysis on Twitter. But this also coincides with it. Congressman William Keating sold his shares in Boeing on February 28th, just one day prior to the Department of Justice announcing an investigation into Boeing. He offloaded his stock right before the news broke.
So, imagine.
Yeah. If you trade stocks, look into what our representatives are buying. Mm-hmm. Look at what they're dumping. And you're sure to make a fortune most of the time.
I should start doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, for real. I mean, I need some extra income.
Steven says on the red heifer thing that they're looking to do the sacrifice before April 22nd.
Makes sense. Oh, and I also saw that your sheep guy pled guilty this week.
Yep.
I did see that.
If I was him, I would be like, hell no, I ain't pleading guilty. I'm just trying to make the world better for all hunters.
I hear you.
But yeah, I mean, how damning is that Boeing requested him stay an additional day and then they found him dead the next morning?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like on the wall. Like it's obvious that they didn't care at that point. They just needed him not to talk.
Yeah. And they needed to make sure he was around so that they could make sure he didn't talk.
Oh, and I do have to say, we're just joking about all this. for purposes, we're just joking. We have no idea what we're talking about.
But in the world of make believe, if they were
all of these people and companies that we're naming are fictional. They may happen to have the same names as some real life people.
Yeah, just because they're similar, there's no actual similarity.
But in the world of make believe, why would they kill him, Tully?
Well, I mean, you can play. I saw you had that video up of him. If you want to play the video, you can.
Was that a video? That was just a screenshot.
Oh, well, there was a video of him actually talking about some of the information he had on Boeing. I mean, he was the whistleblower, so his testimony was needed to execute that investigation.
Nice.
And if you didn't hear last week, we went through like all the gross misconduct that he allegedly was going to testify for.
Yeah. Yep. So that's a little update on the going to Boeing going crazy.
Well, how's it going with Boeing? And we'll continue to bring updates on stuff, like all this crazy stuff as we hear about it if we see something.
Yep.
Yep.
So, what you got more going? I'm sorry.
I do have something this week, but mine's a little more light.
All right.
So, y'all give me hell about having DNA tests done and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Well, yes. Well, there are these companies that will do your dog DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a Toronto-based company that analyzes dog DNA, and they are in the doghouse after an investigative report raised questions about the accuracy of its breed identifications. DNA My Dog claims to its customers that it is the highest possible accuracy in determining your dog's breeds. So, an investigative team located out of Boston, Mass, decided to put them and a couple of other DNA services to the test. But instead of sending in dog DNA, they swabbed the inner cheek of their investigative reporter, Christina Hager. So, two of the companies, Oravet and Wisdom Panel, analyzed the swabs, and they could not provide any reliable results. They just said it's not breeding like it should. But DNA My Dog determined that Hager was 40% Alaskan Malamute, 35% Shar-Pei, and 25% Labrador, according to the report.
She looks like a dog.
She looks like a dog.
I swear that's one of the reasons why I'm so skeptical of those companies, because one of those DNA companies, somebody swabbed an orange and sent it in, and they sent back a DNA profile, which I guess it does have one, Rod.
Yeah.
Like she would have one. All they can do is determine where in the world it came from.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Like I think that I think the whole DNA collection thing is probably nefarious when it comes to humans, but
right. Oh yeah. And like I said, when I did it just for fun. I'm not looking at it going, oh my God, I'm 0.25%, Nugandian or something,
Yeah.
I did it strictly for fun. And the thing is, a year prior, this same investigative team did the same test with another pet owner. And she came back as 40% Border Collie, 30% Cane Corso, and 28% Bulldog. But they're still standing behind their results.
That's funny.
Yes, that's to me, the best part of it is the fact that they are standing 100% behind the validity of their dog DNA tests.
You know what's really scary? The best dog DNA test is taking a picture of your dog and Google imaging it. It just about tells you the breed of any dog if you just take a picture. There's a dog that runs around at work. I take a picture of it, and it's a Chihuahua mixed with a fox. I was like, that looks like it.
Yeah.
So, in the news of flat Earth, I want to throw this one out here.
All right.
So this week, there was a bunch of people in the conspiracy community, flat earthers mainly, who came out because I guess it was announced that the Nikon Coolpix P1000 Super Telephoto digital camera.
That's the one that has basically fueled all the evidence for.
Yes, this particular camera has broke at least the initial narrative, because there's a with the whole flat Earth thing.
There's a drop point.
Yeah, there's a drop point where you technically shouldn't be able to keep zooming in on something like out in the ocean. So if there's a ship, eventually it goes over the curvature of the Earth. And this camera, this Nikon camera that we're talking about, disproved that particular mileage or yardage or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. So basically, ship goes over the horizon, but this camera in particular could keep zooming and keep catching the ship. So the flat Earth community came out this week saying that they're resigning this camera because the public can't have something with that kind of zooming capabilities.
Yeah, because they want the truth to come out, because they're
I'll say, I have a Nikon and I don't think mine's that good.
It's a Coolpix P1000.
Yeah,
I'm sure these cameras are like $15,000 or something crazy.
Probably.
Yeah.
But
I mean, mine wasn't cheap, but it was not that caliber of camera either.
But yeah, for all you flat earthers out there, it just got a little bit harder to make your point.
What's so crazy about this is anytime they have something that can disrupt any kind of narrative, they take it off the market. There was a voice recorder in the 80s or 70s. I can't remember what it was, but it was a Samsung. and it run at a frequency that actually picked up the voice of Ghost, and they cut it from the market like straight away. And it's kind of like the infrared, like in Vietnam they used to use, you know how night vision's green now. It used to be red.
It's the other way around, I think.
What
No, it was purplish, right? Like are you talking about the D word, the Dyson glasses?
No, the night vision goggles that they wore in Vietnam were red. They used red light instead of green like they do now. And people were reporting seeing like fucking dragons and shit.
Yes, that was because of a chemical they used called Dyson, I believe it is.
Yeah. And they
do you know infrared? They've taken infrared out of stuff since then too, because at one time they had infrared on several cell phones. Because when I worked in, a big box cell phone company, that was one of the things that the particular phone that I had, I could pick up damn near every phone in the building.
Mm-hmm.
I posted it in the chat, but I think it only went to YouTube. It's spelled DICYANIN.
I've heard of that.
And I spelled dye wrong. It's the dye that they used for those goggles. And now actually, Cecil, there's a aftermarket of people that still make this dye that put it on glasses for ghost hunting, and they're like $300.
I think that may be where I heard about it when we were talking about ghost hunting one time. I went down a rabbit hole.
People were seeing.
I bet your evil twin Zach Baggins has a
the people in Vietnam were seeing like demons, and I think why they were called them specifically was the helicopter gunners were shooting at stuff at night that wasn't there.
And it had nothing to do with the heroin or the or the LSD that they were using.
But yeah, like I said, so I could see that because, like I said, they had the infrared on those just couple of phones for like one generation, and then when they came out with the updated one, infrared was going off of everything.
Yeah,
you'll still get them on like your computer mouse and stuff like that, but nothing that you're using.
Yeah, Steven said that it was a Starlight scopes. Starlight vision, I guess, not vision.
Okay.
Cool. Who's got another one?
I've got one. Going back to Canada.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. So I have a feeling that everybody out there has at least one time fantasized about getting away from it all, maybe even faking their own death, right? Starting a new life.
Yeah. Well,
in today's age, it's impossible because the government monitors everything we do. But what if the government was to give you a little head start? So in Ontario, was this in Ontario? I've already forgot where. Montreal. A guy named by the name of Nick Faturius. He came back from a 2-year holiday that he spent in Costa Rica.
A 2-year holiday.
Yeah, catching some for 2 years.
Wow.
When he came home, he had a stack of mail you wouldn't believe. And within the mail was a 14-page letter from the government explaining that they were seeking to collect money from his estate because he had died. So
I don't think I would correct anybody.
So
at that point, like if you're able to go on a 2-year holiday and wherever you said.
Well, it was a speeding ticket of all things. So they just wouldn't let a speeding ticket go. Just like anything else the government does, Nick says it's been a logistical nightmare to get a hold of anyone to prove that he's still alive.
I agree with you, Mike.
Yeah.
Apparently, a wrongful declared dead hotline is a busy one, as he could never get a hold of anybody. Be like, hey, I'm still alive, man. After all the mix-up hit the headlines and everything, a spokesperson from the Ministry of Justice finally came out and said that the confusion was a simple human error. They said the collector of fines mistakenly used the wrong template when the template.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. If I've got enough money to go on a 2-year holiday anywhere, I ain't coming back from the dead.
Right?
But my feelings about this is the government, they get their money no matter what. And I feel like if they're trying to collect money from a fucking dead person, they need to use a Ouija board.
Dude, as soon as you said, anytime I hear ministry of something, I think of what, 1984?
Yeah.
Like the
exactly.
Ministry
Yeah.
of Truth.
Yeah. Okay. True statement, a true thing here. You'll love this. And it's kind of on that same thing. Back a million years ago, I was a stay-at-home mom. Mo lost his job. And for about a month and a half, I had my kids on Medicaid. Because like I said, they were little bitty at the time and needed insurance, and I qualified. So I'm like, hey, I've been paying taxes all these years. I might as well get something back.
Oh, yeah.
So 3 years later, they come, I get registered letters saying that they were suing Mo for back child support for not, if he'd have been paying his child support, in other words, they wouldn't have needed to be on Medicaid. So they were suing him. And I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, he didn't have a job. This was legit. So it took affidavits, paperwork. It was just a nightmare. But while I was down there, I'm like, well, as far as that goes, I'm like, you've been trying to find my ex-husband for the last 5 years and you can't find him. No, ma'am, we can't. I'm like, he walks in this building once a month and hands you $100 to pay on child support. How can you not find him?
I mean,
they really do pick and choose. Like if you screw something up, it's like they get you like that. If they screw something up, it's like, oh, well, fill out these 10 forms and jump through 5 hoops.
And I was just making a point. You've been telling me for years we can't locate him. And he had come back to town for a little while, and he had convinced his grandparents, who had a great relationship with my child and, saw her regularly, that if they didn't help him with child support, I wouldn't let them see her anymore. So they were giving him $100 to take down and put on his account. I'm like, he literally walks in this building once a month and you write him out a receipt and you can't locate him. They never followed up on it.
What's so crazy about all this? I feel like if you were to get over on the government, like in a minuscule rate, they should just be like, okay. I mean, we're giving out trillions of dollars. One of my friends, for instance, he was getting unemployment, and he got a job and he got one last unemployment check. He's like, do you think I should give this back? I was like, absolutely. He said, nah. So he spent the money. And the next week he called me like, man, can I borrow $800 because they're fucking gonna put me in jail? Like,
yeah, that's why you see a lot of people being like, I hate the IRS. I'm not paying taxes anymore. Taxes are optional. And yes, all of that, like taxes are optional thing, that is technically true. However, if you are employed, they have other means to collect that money. And, people try to go like the sovereign citizen route, and people have tried everything in the world to get away from the IRS. And it was just one of those deals. Like back in World War II, they needed the money. They're like, oh, we're just gonna implement this payroll tax for a little bit.
Yeah.
These other taxes, we just need the money for a little bit. And then World War II ended, and they're like, well, it's been pretty good. We're just gonna keep doing it,
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like when the fucking toll booths were still on the Parkway 20 years after the road was paid off. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I've been looking into taking a leave of absence from work because when I file taxes this year, I'm going to have to go to prison to serve the time.
Well, do y'all remember back in 2008? And I realize y'all probably don't because you were babies.
I was working. I was working for a bank in 2008. Actually.
Okay. Well, you remember the government gave everybody the bailout money. It was like what, $1,200 or something. I owed the IRS like $1,100, and they sent me the balance after they took theirs.
Oh my God! Stop!
I swear by all that's holy, and I was paying on it. I had a plan working with them and everything. But yes, Mo and I got our check, and it was for less than $200.
I spent mine on liquor and women's.
Mike says the sovereign citizens anyway, and Landa said called everybody bastards. So I agree. Right. So let's get into what I brought as scary news this week.
You don't want to get to the dangers of smoking first? stopping.
That would be a good ending one, I think.
Oh, okay, so I'll go between y'all then.
All right, go ahead.
So scary, or you want to go right now? Or
Yeah,
you?
No, I can wait.
Okay, I'll hit the scary news, and then we can get into some lighter stuff. So it starts off kind of light, but the next major emergence of periodical cicadas. This is wild April. This is what we have to look forward to in April.
Good God, I know where you're going. I hate this shit.
The cicadas start in April into early May 2024. It's a 17-year brood that's emerging in northern Illinois. At the same time, a 13-year brood is going to be all over the southeastern United States. And it's rare to have a dual emergence. The last time it happened was 221 years ago. And Thomas Jefferson was the president of the United States, and Lewis and Clark had started their exploration of the Louisiana Purchase. So that's one thing happening in April. The next thing, which we've all caught some wind of, is the solar eclipse that's coming on the 8th. So at least 4 states on the eclipse's trajectory have urged residents to stock up on groceries and gas. Counties in Texas have already issued declarations of disaster. Ohio's governor signed an executive order to direct all state departments to be prepared for residents and visitors during and after the eclipse, and is urging those traveling into town to be prepared, stopping ahead of time to fill up fuel tank and bringing food in case of emergencies.
So what are they predicting is going to happen?
I guess like people just stopped in the middle of the road, like not being able to drive, maybe.
Maybe.
And then the Supreme Court of New York has issued a warning about impacts caused by the solar eclipse in a few weeks. And an example of how the event may affect the everyday lives of people who live and work in the path of totality. Who knows? It's all this garbled jargon that they put in this stuff, but this list, like if you just Google eclipse, yeah, and Mike said all over Facebook that the eclipse is like the end of the world right now, and that's what I'm getting at.
Right, because they've never had this kind of, outcry over one. Not in my lifetime.
Yeah, if you just Google like whatever state and eclipse, almost every state is doing something similar to this.
Okay, so I need to go get some more pasta and dried beans, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it just goes on and on and on. The more you Google at it, that's why I only included that. But at the same exact time, we have the horned devil comet that's going to be visible in the sky for the first time in 71 years. And if you look at the history on this comet, it's kind of paralleled with events that have happened. Like every time it comes around, I think at least a couple times there have been major earthquakes and stuff. And everybody's talking about the eclipse. Nobody's talking about, the devil's comet that's coming at the same time. But with all of this, Cecil, I don't know if you have that video up.
Oh, I can get it up.
But there's a lady this week that was talking about some interesting stuff with the eclipse that we're going to play.
And hopefully we can hear it.
Yeah.
So let's go for it.
People are talking about the eclipse, but they're not talking about this. The sun and the moon are not aligned on April 8th. They are in Pisces. Right now, if you go to your Skyview app and you push forward to April 8th, plug it in, it will show you that the sun and the moon are in Pisces. They are not aligned. They are sitting beside each other, but they are not aligned. How is that possible? Because the sun and the moon have been out of place since back in September 2023. I've been doing these videos telling you that the sun is not where it should be. People are telling me it's the calendar. The calendar's off. Don't worry about it. It's where the sun is in the sky that's different. It's not where it should be. This eclipse is showing you that I am telling you the truth. Because if we see an eclipse on April 8th, how is that possible? If the sun and the moon are in Pisces, it can't be an Aries eclipse, right? If the sun is in Pisces, and if the sun and the moon are not aligned, they have to be aligned in order for you to see an eclipse, correct? So I don't have to be a fucking astrophysicist to understand this, and neither do you. I'm trying to get this out to as many people as I can. Please share this because, I mean, this is just a no-brainer. These heavenly bodies are changing. They are not where they should be. And they damn sure will not show you an eclipse in the sky if they are not aligned.
So
Hey
there's
guys,
So I
I'm
have
sorry.
a problem with that girl, Tully. I want to show you something. Why does she have cat eyes? Is she a reptilian?
oh, that's interesting. I never noticed that.
But anyway, go check her out. It's Apoth something. You
So
can see right there.
my comments on that, just from like, even if you look at the comments under that video, you'll see people saying things like, okay, well, if it's not the moon, then is it Nibiru? Like playing into the whole Anunnaki thing. Or, Planet X is what they also call Nibiru sometimes. Also, people are, of course, throwing out Blue Beam, saying that it's a manufactured eclipse. But what were you going to say, Morgana?
I was going to say, I'm looking at my star app, and the sun is in Pisces right now.
Is that what she said, or different than what she said?
She said that it could not happen because the sun is in Pisces right now.
Yeah. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, who knows? But she also has cat eyes, so maybe
Reptilian eyes is what I
who
like.
fucking knows? But that was that's all the wild stuff coming up in April. We don't know what's going to happen on the eclipse, but
No, but
Well, just some advice: don't look at it.
oh,
yeah.
Except maybe Mike. He might be okay.
Did Mike dirty?
No.
I owed him for a comment a couple weeks ago.
This is what everybody should do. Take your AR-15s and point up toward it and fire. Let's see what happens.
Okay. I know my luck. On the Addams Family, the second one where the kid shoots his bow and arrow straight up and takes down an American bald eagle.
Yeah,
That's my luck.
same.
I'll shoot a damn plane out of the damn sky.
And this is
Yeah.
coming from somebody that's almost been shot by a stray bullet from AR.
Uh-huh.
So, pro
Yeah.
Second Amendment here.
Well, and I don't know how true this is. You'd have to look it up on the calendar. Somebody in the comments was also like, "Did you know?" And I'm sure that if Mike is saying it's all over Facebook, that this is definitely on Facebook. But there's comments all over these posts like this being like, "Did you know that this eclipse is 6 years, 6 weeks, and 6 days from the last eclipse?"
666, pick up sticks.
Yeah. So there's definitely some components of satanic panic in here. I mean, it's literally named the Devil's Comet. But I think it's all of this stuff is what has people in sort of a hysteria about it and the state of the world,
Well, isn't there some kind of alignment that's coming up this year too? Like a pretty major planetary alignment?
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you when it is.
Me
but
either, and it's probably on my other app, but so
But I mean, there's kind of a rational thought behind having like everybody be secure for this because there's going to be a lot of out-of-towners coming into Path of Totality. And with all the crime and stuff, like when it's pitch dark out,
that's when you get your Lambos.
Yeah, that's when you get your 55 inches and 65. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
yeah, I got you.
hit us with something light-hearted, Morgana.
Well, I don't know if I call this light, but I love stupid people because they keep me entertained.
you like us?
I love you guys. If I didn't have you guys on Friday nights, my life would be miserable, just for the record. Okay, so there's this kid over in Taiwan. He's 23 years old, and all they listed was his last name, which was Zhang. And he let one of his friends talk him into having his legs amputated so he could get a $1.3 million insurance payout.
I mean, okay, yeah.
Okay, so two 23-year-olds, and this guy comes to him. He's lost like all this money from trading cryptocurrency. So he tricked Zhang into signing a legal note obligating him to pay $800,000. So what they did is they rode around on a motorbike all night, wanting people to see them. And he's, dressed, not for the weather or whatever, thinking, okay, well, he got so cold that he got frostbite. And then he sits around with his legs in dry ice for hours and hours to get the actual frostbite.
This is horrible.
Yeah, if this is not really a light story. So anyway, he ends up in the hospital, and the medical staff, they were just like, okay, something's not right about this. He didn't have any shoe or sock marks. His injuries were symmetrical, which is totally inconsistent with naturally occurring frostbite. And so on top of the whole getting him to sign this, promissory note, he also had him convinced that the mob was going to kill him if he didn't pay this $800,000. So he kind of guilted him into, agreeing to pay it. Well, he ended up only getting like a $3,200 payout because they started seeing the coldest temperature in January in Taiwan is roughly 42 degrees Fahrenheit.
What?
So the whole frostbite didn't play into reality.
Did he lose his legs?
Oh, yes, they did. They took them both. And now they're both under fraud charges, aiding and abetting the injury. And he's got to pay back the $3,400.
Wow.
And he's facing prison time.
That's terrible.
Crew time.
That is crew time.
Okay, stupid should hurt. That's the only way you learn from it.
So
that stupid did hurt. I guarantee it. God,
so I brought a very lighthearted one to maybe send us off with.
Okay.
So I titled it "The Dangers of Stopping Smoking." If you smoke, and if you're looking for an alternative to smoking, so
I'll smoke till I ain't here no more.
So a lot of people are being able to stop vaping and smoking with alternatives such as nicotine gum, and now nicotine pouches, which are like Zins and nicotine salts, which is just nicotine salt and basically components that would be in the gum that's just in a pouch instead of something that you chew.
I really wish they would sell nicotine in a syringe.
Well, you're getting closer. So people are lodging nicotine pouches in their buttholes and foreskins for a buzz, and health experts warn that it could cause skin damage and lead to an addiction if they're not careful. And this actually came out in Scandinavia. People were placing nicotine pouches meant for the inside of the lip in their buttholes and foreskins to see if they would feel anything. Some users reported that their nicotine cravings disappeared when they did this, while others say that they only felt a burning sensation and they got rashes and swelling. Now, health experts warn against this trend because it could lead to skin damage, but more importantly, nicotine addiction.
What the fuck? Well, I've got to try it now. I mean, I'm going to go buy a pack of Zins.
Mike says that major alcoholics do the same thing with alcohol.
I have heard this.
No, I have done both before it works.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw this out here. If you're funneling vodka into your asshole, you may have a problem. Just for the record.
Oh my God.
It's the quickest way to pregame.
Okay, I will tell you this. If you really want to quit drinking, really want to, and you don't want to go that alternative route to see if that will help you, Kratom. Kratom is still legal in most states. It is not addictive. It does get you off of opioids, and it will make you stop drinking.
I had to quit using it because I have a big bag, and I used to just stick my face in it and go, and then it made me quit.
Probably for good reason.
I bet you I could get you high off of a rolled up thing of parsley just by convincing you.
Some people that works. Some people the placebo effect works better than the actual thing.
I don't know. When I was a youth, I partook in multiple things.
But
it take more than parsley to get me stoned.
I've never done any kind of that stuff.
Just to briefly get us out of the ditch.
No, the ditch is where we remain.
yeah, this all shows the ditch. So after this, at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, the three of us will be joining the rest of our crew for Weird Awakenings, which is part of the Weird Realities Network, and it's weird with a Y. So if you're interested in all things woo, we cover cryptids, paranormal. We do not cover crew traum.
We cover crew traum.
We basically go all out on the woo for Weird Awakenings. I don't know how else would you describe it, Morgana?
No, that's good. I mean, we get into the supernatural and paranormal and anything off the wall and weird.
Sometimes we have cool guests, but if you're not doing anything on this Friday night and you want to come over to Weird Awakenings, it's weird with a Y. You can look it up on YouTube.
Weird Realities Network.
It'll also be on our Twitter.
You did that well.
Weird Realities Network.
Yeah. Yeah. Every Friday. And then,
Weird Realities Network.
we're going to be on here every Friday. The Lord willing.
That's right. We are talking about Weird Nevada tonight.
Weird Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
So all things weird in Nevada.
Yep.
And I think that's all the plugging. Do you guys can you think of anything else?
Well, we do folk and weird.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, they do watching weird on Thursday nights. If you're a movie buff, hey.
Oh yeah, Weird Realities has something for everybody. There's like 30 members and 15 different shows.
Yes, Blondes Books and Campfires. They talk about urban legends and books and stuff, and
shows after shows after shows.
And if you go to weirdrealities.net, which is on purpose, .net, you can sign up for our newsletter, which Morgana produces. I shouldn't say our; it's Morgana's. It's
actually
and you will get all of our shows, like our schedules. We can't really put a schedule on Folk and Weird because it's dependent on us getting footage, but we do Folk and Weird one Saturday a month. We'll tell you ahead of time. But yeah, the newsletter will give you all the shows, all the days, what we have going on. That's
book releases coming up because we do have a lot of authors in our group.
And Mike said once a month the ladies do crew traum.
Yeah, they do crew traum once a month. And what's so strange is everybody's an author except for the
3 or 4 of us.
The 4 of us on Weird Awakenings, which is totally me, Morgana, and Steven.
Yes. We're going to do this. Okay, I'm going to think up something good, and we're going to have a collaborative.
We should all write 5 short stories and put a book together.
Okay. Can you commit to that?
I've got 3 already wrote.
All right.
Well, one is a Bigfoot erotica.
Well, that means I don't have to write one then. If you've already got Bigfoot erotica covered.
I've heard that that's an actual thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I got turned off for a long time ago, and I was like, I'm gonna write my own.
Thanks, Linda.
All right, guys. We appreciate you, girl.
Yep.
We appreciate all of
you. 15 minutes.
See you in 15 minutes, and let me get this. We'll get the outro going here.
Do the